I was thinking about doing like a FAQ for us so that people can finally stop asking me what pencil I use.
Okay.
Did you see that though on the comments on my? Oh, yeah, I think you did because you liked it. Where someone's like, "What pencil are you using?"
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, "You could literally read it."
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? How did you watch this video and ask that question?
Right. Exactly. What part of the video were you looking at?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I need to know what that pencil is using. And it's like, you can read.
Yeah. I think I wrote that I could literally see you rubbing your temples as you write this comment.
Gosh.
But yeah, so what type of pencils do you use?
Waiting to dry.
All right, everyone. Welcome to Waiting to Dry. Need we remind you once again that we are the least informative art podcast on earth. So you got your little 1-star opinions, keep them to yourself. On the flip side, thank you to the 5-star reviews we got as well. It's polar opposites when it comes to reviews, it seems like.
For sure.
There's not really a lot of like, I guess I kind of like the show, so I'll review it. You're like, I hate it or love it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but whatever.
It's just the nature of internet reviews, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And our podcast, I think we were made for a certain type of artist.
Probably, yeah.
And people that aren't going to be in, I think, people that are very opinionated and have a very strong opinion about, I don't know, social justice-y warrior type shit. I think we probably offend them a good chunk. I have a feeling that's a 1-star reviews are that group of people where they have like also people that want us to give them the answers to all the shit. Those are
right.
those two type of people. They just don't get what we're doing.
Right.
So whatever. But thanks to everyone else. I actually really, really appreciate everyone else that's like supportive and gets what we're doing, and our listener base that are
absolutely
that we get to interact with that are super awesome. So fuck those other people. You guys are awesome.
Right. Well, there you go.
By the way, I'm Josh Lawyer.
I'm Sergio Lopez.
And we got another no guest episode. Dun dun dun.
Yeah. A little no guest stinger.
Yeah. I don't know if you want me to get into random shit I'm thinking about talking about first, or you want to go through other stuff.
Shit, let's just get into what random shit you got going on.
Well, I've been trying to figure out how to because how much of a time suck this thing is. I've been trying to figure out how to make it so that I'm like super excited to keep doing it. And I've been in this weird mind space where I'm like, in everything I do, I think in art, it's like a weird thing where I have to try to figure out if the juice is worth the squeeze, if I'm enjoying it still. Like all these things go through my head because it's not like a job. Like we're not making money off this. We're just losing money and time, but it is fun. But that, like you have to weigh the pros and the cons. So I've been, and that's kind of why I think I've been pushing towards doing more solo episodes of like, oh, we'll just do more solo episodes. So it's not that big of an effort. And it's easier because I'm not having to like try to fill a space every week with a guest and the headaches that come along with all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I've also haven't talked to Sergio about this. I mean, I texted you like I've been thinking about this.
Right.
So we're talking about it on air. Hey, but I've been starting to think that not necessarily having solo episodes is a good idea, but maybe making it like a bi-weekly show. So I always have a weekend off from doing the show where I can just kind of do things that I like doing on the weekends that just kind of aren't available when we do this show, especially if we're heavy guest based, because usually we have to go out to the guest,
Mm-hmm.
and usually that kind of forces me to not have a weekend. So I'm like working during the weekend, working during the week, and then I just get burnt out on top of trying to like figure out when I have time to paint and all those type of things. So
Yeah, definitely.
So I was thinking if I do it bi-weekly, it makes it so that scheduling someone isn't hard,
Mm-hmm.
and that I can still enjoy every other weekend doing something fun.
Yeah.
And so I think and if we want to do a solo episode, then I only have to really book one guest that month, which
Right.
makes it way easier
Yeah.
on me to kind of, and it might sound like I'm bitching and complaining about like scheduling guests, but it just is a shitload of work. It really is, because you're communicating back and forth with a guest, and you're locking in dates and rescheduling and all these things.
Right.
And if you're doing it every week, it just is a ton of time that I don't have. And it goes back to like the pros versus the cons of like, is it worth all the work and money we're throwing at this thing, and stress and all these things? And I'm just getting burnt out. I'm like, oh, if we change it to bi-weekly, I think that kind of allows us, or I think it makes it so that it's easier, at least for me, to keep enjoying this thing that I do enjoy, but
Yeah.
the stress that's involved with it, and and then I mean, it sucks because I don't want to say that the negative reviews get to me, but they, like you read them, you're like, damn, that fucking sucks.
Right. Yeah.
And it'll like nag at me for like a day or so.
Oh yeah, I'm the
fuck.
same way. Yeah, you just can't help it.
Yeah. And then that like, when I'm in my like, do I want to keep doing this thing? Those things are like just a little bit more of like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I want to, I don't want to have these people with their shit opinions like just bag on me while I'm working hard at this thing that's not
Right.
It's like, and they're like, a lot of them are like, you're fucking egotistical, and you're like, what ego? Like, I'm literally doing this, throwing money at this for no fucking reason. I don't have to do this. Like, I'm not, and there's no fucking feeding my ego. I'm getting a shitload of, like, this is probably the thing I get the most negative feedback for out of everything I do is literally this show.
Right.
So it's like, how is this feeding my ego? If anything, it's breaking me down. So I don't know. But yeah, so I've been thinking bi-weekly, would be a thing where I get to keep my sanity and enjoy this thing and be able to kind of schedule without feeling the pressure of like, who the fuck's up next? Who's up next?
Right. Yeah.
And because I do understand that our listeners do enjoy having guests on, the numbers show that there's a slight increase when we have guests on. So
Right.
obviously there's a certain number of people that tune in based on that. So I don't want to fucking be like, fuck you guys,
Yeah.
because I don't want to schedule anymore. So, and I do enjoy conversating with guests, but
Yeah.
when you have to go to a studio every week, that's when I get burnt out. And I'm like, I have to drive to Oakland this week. We have to drive to San Francisco next week. We have to, and that's just a full day thing.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is it's like every week I can't do it anymore. And then we have to drive there for other reasons, you and me.
Yeah.
Other art reasons and shit like that. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd probably be different if we actually lived closer to our guests in that way, but it is what it is when it comes to that. So it's like, it's as much as it is difficult for us to go out there. Imagine if we tried to force every guest to come out here to come record with us. Like, we'd just end up doing solo episodes anyway. So.
Yeah, I know. I that was one thing I was thinking about trying to do early, like when I was kind of going, like the last, maybe since we've been doing just solo shows, pretty much just because I'm getting burnt out by by going to people every weekend. And I was like, I would reach out to guests and I would say like, all right, well, you have to come to us, because I was just burnt. I was like, I just can't go to you right now. Like I can't do it. I mean, and I told him like, I can send Sergio out. He might be down and we can find a co-host, but I'm not going to do it just because I was done and it's whatever, but
Right.
but yeah, so that's my little complaint spiel about, and just to fill everyone in that the weekly Tuesday thing might switch, or I'm pretty sure this is happening because I don't know how you feel about that, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it totally.
The
reasons for it definitely make sense. I'm just trying to think of like what are the cons to it.
Right.
It's like, I mean, definitely it will slow the growth of the show down inevitably. I can't see how it wouldn't, but and then also, yeah, I mean, it's become such a part of my week doing this show, having that routine of doing the show and then putting it out and all that. But I mean, it's nice to have less work to do too for me.
Right.
I do all the editing and most of the social media and all that. So yeah, even that's been kind of slacking a little bit in the past few weeks on that, just because it's like, oh, gotta do the same thing over and over again every week. And then like the numbers don't grow like for social media. Like there are a lot of weeks where it just kind of stays the same thing. It's like no matter what I do, what kind of effort I'm putting into all that stuff, like making videos and all that shit takes hella time too.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, I could do that, I guess, every week, or just like kind of just trying to put just something out almost every day just to have something, or I could spend a little more time, like in the time instead of not recording, then doing a little bit more to try and grow the show in the week, that instead of putting a show out, doing more effort in that route. Because there's a lot of back end stuff that I do that maybe people don't recognize that is that obvious, like all the stuff that I've been trying to do with YouTube, trying to grow that, like behind the scenes stuff. So it would be nice also for me to have that cushion of time to do other things that I'm doing, not just on the show, but all the other actual art career stuff that is supposed to be making me money too. So there's that part of it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure people would understand, like the people who are fans of the show and get what we're doing here. Pretty sure they'll get the reasoning behind this. So
yeah, and I mean, I'm totally open to ideas as well, as far as like I don't feel like I have to be on the mic every episode. I don't think I've ever, maybe in the beginning it felt like an obligation in that way, but I'm literally like, we've done this thing. The whole idea was to have conversations with artists on mics, not fucking interviews, to just have how artists talk with each other on mics. That was our whole show idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
That doesn't mean I have to be a part of the conversation. I enjoy listening to the episodes without me just as much as with me on. So I don't, so, it's always like, if anyone, I'm not saying I want to like back away from the show, but it's always like, if you have someone to talk to and you're like, hey, I want to talk to this person and I'm not in it. And that's perfectly fine. Right. And I think vice versa, probably, like if you're out of town, I know exactly. We're supposed to do when you're out of town soon that we have to do.
Yeah. Probably do a couple without me. And then, I'm going to be with a bunch of artists. So I'm going to try and get some shows done out there too. So
it's like, I mean, it's just, I think when it becomes a ton of work, and the, like the juice versus the squeeze scenario, it's like, I think sometimes for me, it's like, well, I have to reevaluate how much effort I put into this thing. Cause I don't necessarily think slowing down, I don't think doing bi-weekly is going to be a negative thing. I've gotten a shitload of feedback from people that are like, I feel like they're pretty good listeners and they're like, oh, I need to catch up. Like,
that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like we've set a pace that we were kind of volunteering everyone to listen to us for 2 weeks, so 2 hours a week. I can understand, like, I do the same thing with podcasts where I get like way behind on them. And I'm like, and sometimes I don't even go back. I'm just like, I'm going to start here now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think there's something positive about the bi-weekly as far as scheduling, because it won't feel like an obligation to fill the space.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the main advantage to that, I would say, for us. Yeah.
So it also allows me to kind of like think about who I really want to talk to, rather
and what
than,
we want to talk about as well. Yeah.
rather than just being like, cool, I didn't know this artist lived in the area. Oof, we got another one.
Yeah.
Cool. This makes it 1 week. We have one more week we filled with an artist that's new.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's a lot of positives to it. I understand that, for the people that probably rely on the every Tuesday to, tune in, this might be a downer for them.
Probably.
But I'm hoping that we'll be, at least for me, I'll be a less whiny bitch. It's a thing I've noticed. I think we even had a review that said I was whining a lot.
Yeah.
And I noticed it before that where I was like, God, am I just being a whiny bitch like every week now? And I think I was just getting burnt out. And, I mean, I'm a whiny bitch anyways, but it's like the more I feel kind of negative towards this thing we do, the more I think I get darker in that kind of aspect, and of like,
that makes sense.
Yeah. And especially if you're getting like a negative review, I like my instinct is just like, fuck that person. But it's like, I don't know, like I still feel that way. Fuck that person.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like I'm really trying to figure out how to kind of block that out too. Cause I think that also makes me, like deters me from enjoying this thing or noticing the things that are, I don't know. How do you feel about this thing? Do you get burnt out at all about it?
Not so much. I don't know. It's probably just because I feel like I'm a little bit more of the backseat driver for the most part, especially when it's like a guest driven show. Most of the responsibility is on you in that situation where you're the one who finds the guest. And that was actually, I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the show, but when we first started the show, I don't know, it was like probably like 5 or 6 weeks in, the only like friction we've ever had, like me and you together about the show, was about like trying to book guests,
right? Yeah,
trying to figure that out. So one of the things that really made sense was to have just one person take on that responsibility. And the few times that it's been on me to find the guest, when it's like a episode where maybe you're out of town or whatever, it's like I totally understand like why the headaches involved and all that. So like to have to do that every week, I could totally get that. And then like the recordings of the shows, I mean, it's no secret that I'm not the most talkative person on the episodes. So then in those episodes, like you're the main driver of the conversation along with the guest most of the time. So those are a little bit easier for me to handle, whereas I like doing the solo episodes for different reasons, but there's a little bit more effort involved. So for me, the main effort is all the back end stuff, and sometimes that gets a little bit annoying, but it's such a thing that I don't like keep myself to a strict schedule. Like this has to be out every week. So if I don't feel like going like super hard on the social media, I don't have to. So it doesn't feel like I ever have to burn myself out when it comes to all that stuff. So there's only a few things that are really on my shoulder that it have to be done for the show. And that I've got down pretty easily, or pretty down to a formula. So it doesn't take that much mental effort on my part. So there probably isn't nearly as much for me to get burnt out on if I choose not to burn myself out on it. So it's a little different in that way, but I mean, it's a partnership. So if the effort drops on one end, you kind of have to just figure it out no matter what. And
I think that's what was kind of going in my head of like, I think for me, it was like, do I just quit this thing? And before, like, just because, I don't know, it's always an option for anything really, is like, is this thing worth it? How much effort should I put into this? And, at one point I was really, like on the edge of like, I think I'm done here. I think I told MJ, I was like, I think I can't do this anymore. And I think she like pushed me off or walked me off that edge like a bunch of times.
Oh, really?
Within like a short amount of time. I just kept going back and forth like, yeah, no. And then that's when kind of this bi-weekly thing popped in, and I was like, that seems like it would be the perfect solution to the issues I'm having with this thing. And I don't know, when I thought I kept thinking about it, and I was like, I think this will be good. I think it solves all my issues kind of in a word, other than the 1-star assholes, but that's just my own like thing I gotta figure out how to deal with.
Right.
Don't read the don't read the reviews. Period. It should be my, I think,
yeah, maybe.
The solution to that. And like what you were saying earlier is like you do a lot of the back end stuff, which is like super, like it's like a huge part of it. It's like the unspoken hero part, like
right.
You don't kind of get the like the pats on the back for that. But at the same time, you probably interact with our listeners way more than especially probably the positive feedback way more than I do.
Yeah, because I get all the waiting to dry messages, and
right.
they're like universally positive. Nobody's like on the DMs shitting on us. So.
Right. So like I don't really see that stuff. I don't. So every once in a while I might see something because it like I'll get notifications on my when I'm on Instagram, and it'll say like, oh, message, and I'll click on it, not knowing it's a waiting to dry one. And it'll shoot me. Then I'm like, what is going on? It's like you having a conversation with someone, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to have seen that. Or I mean, not that I should not have seen it, but I'm like, I'm not a part. Like I'm,
right.
I'm walking into a conversation midway.
Yeah,
I'm pulling a Donnie. But yeah, that's the thing is like, I don't get the thing with Instagram is it's everyone's who you are, right? Like, so there's no like, anonymity. Is that right? Did I say that? Is that the right word? In Instagram. So a lot of times that kind of weeds out the negative bullshit, but reviews, you get to kind of hide behind a shield of like, you don't know who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of times that'll make a lot of people have looser lips and
exactly, yeah,
and be a lot more harsher. So in that like world, we just get way more stronger opinions than
exactly
on Instagram.
Yeah, it hasn't even like really infected YouTube yet either. So it's pretty much only like on the reviews that we get much negative feedback. So, yeah, I mean, the best thing for me, like the thing that I like the most is when people interact on social media, because one, it helps the Instagram grow when people like and comment and all that stuff, and then B, it's just nice to get all that stuff to just feel like you're doing some sort of positive impact with what you're doing here with
For
this.
sure.
So
yeah, but yeah, I mean, our numbers have been doing good still. People are still listening.
Oh yeah.
Even though we haven't been having many guests on, we're still pretty solid on our numbers. Yeah. Which is great, but yeah. I don't know. That's just me. I think we're done with me ranting about this shit. Sorry, guys. I mean, I really appreciate everyone listening. I really appreciate all the positive reviews, all the feedback. It like, these are the things that really, that's why the decision's so hard, to like, just go like, I quit this thing.
Right.
It's because I really do enjoy this, and I really do really enjoy interacting with our listeners, because the people that enjoy this show just kind of, I feel like we get each other off the bat. We get to joke around with each other like instantly on social media about shit that most people you might have to like kind of tippy toe till you figure out if they're okay with. So,
exactly. Yeah.
So, those are the it's like hugely positive, but getting burnt out and like the negative feedback and those type of things really like kind of, at least for a bit, I think, once we implement like bi-weekly episodes rather than weekly, I think it'll help, with the burnout and then with even just making a better product, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully it solves all those issues. I can't help but interrupt people with that. At least that's what I fucking get. I don't know.
I don't feel like you do very much though. Is it just because I'm in the room I understand like the dynamic of what's happening? It sounds different to people on audio, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I know the suggested donation guys. I know they have like had the same kind of issues, like feedback wise, and I know it was really tough for them to deal with that. And I know they still even bring it up and they still talk about it as like a thing that they just have to deal. And it seems like that's kind of the reoccurring feedback. Maybe you just have to like shut that shit off and be like, fuck those people. They don't know what they're talking about.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that actually probably is the best case scenario. Because us having this podcast, you realize how like you learn how conversations work so much more being in this thing. Because not only do you record it, are you forcing yourself to be okay at having a conversation. You also have to like listen back to it, and you notice things in the conversation where you stop listening and were in your head. or you cut a person off when they were in the middle of something because of you just wanted to blurt out something that wasn't necessary or things like that. So it does force you to correct certain tendencies you have. And when that happens, when you're out and about with like regular people, you realize that like people are not great at conversations and they don't even know it because, and so it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. This show has definitely made me a lot better, conversationally. Just the practice of it involved of just trying to keep a conversation going and just like being able to pull from different things. So, it's definitely been a positive for me in that regard. So yeah, it's definitely doing the show like kind of ruined a lot of other enjoyment of other podcasts for me in certain ways where it's when you hear other people making the same mistakes that you feel like you either do or got over doing, it's like you can't help but feel like just like shake them out of it. Like,
for sure. Yeah. Even, it's an interesting thing. You start to realize who's really good at having conversations.
Exactly.
And who's okay at it. And also sound quality.
Oh yeah.
That's another big thing. Like, I can't listen to this shit.
Yeah.
It is like they're underwater.
But
yeah, I think hopefully that fills you guys into my mental instability.
He's not perfect, guys.
What? But yeah, I think I'm also just extremely busy.
Right. Yeah.
So
taking on all those murals right now. That was one thing I was kind of like thinking that had to factor it into it. All the things you guys are doing that, if you're like traveling around to do the podcast, how are you going to fit in doing like mural stuff on the weekends and all that too?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really factor that in too much. Maybe that was a part of just me being burnt out in general, but I mean, I could figure it out. Right now we're just doing local murals and, a little bit of like San Francisco. So just a bit of traveling, but it's still not that bad. We could still figure it out. It was just burnout and I don't know, other shit. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's that.
All right.
What?
This was another Waiting to Dry rant corner.
Hell yeah. But yeah, do you want to talk about this thingy you
Yeah, this is kind of a neat little Kickstarter that I came across. So I guess the idea is that it's it's almost, what do you call them? I forget what they're called, but like
CNC machines?
yeah, like a CNC machine, but it's like vertical, that you kind of I don't know how it attaches to the wall.
It's called Scribbit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Scribbit, and says it's a write and erase robot that allows you to draw any content source from the web and update it in real time. So I guess you work with it on a dry erase kind of surface, and it's got these different markers on it. And what I thought was neat about it was like not so much like that you can put any sort of art on the wall that it can draw, but more that being able to use it as like a mock-up sort of thing. Like if you're doing murals or something, I don't know if it would actually be able to work for that specifically, but having like a digital sketch that you can basically put on any surface, and then
how does it attach to the wall? I don't get that part.
That's what I don't get either. Maybe I should have watched this video, but
oh, I see.
Oh, all right.
So there's like a cord, you like nail, and then there's like cords, it looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and it probably goes off of that. Huh, that's interesting. Huh.
So yeah, I thought the opportunities of doing interesting things with it caught my eye.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It would probably help a lot with, like, you know, sometimes you do like a gallery show and you'll do an installation on the surface of the wall. So that would be cool if you could just pre-plan everything and just go like plug that bitch in and
Right.
and let it do all the work.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing about living in the future, where there's all these like random things that are, you know, helping artists create.
Right.
Yeah, and seeing how people kind of utilize random tools to add to whatever they're creating,
Mm-hmm.
like CNC machines and laser cuts, and this thing looks like a new thing, which I'm assuming isn't made fully yet for purchase because it's a Kickstarter, but
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, it's not even that expensive. 199. Oh, okay. Well, it's super early bird, but 199 for one of those things and 4 markers are ready to draw as soon as your perk has been delivered. So even at $4.49, that seems like a reasonable price for what the possibilities are for it.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it works good.
Yeah,
That's the only
exactly.
thing. Yeah. There's always been this like kind of conversation in the woodworking world
Mhm.
about CNC machines, and is it like a cheat or is it a tool
Mhm.
that you can utilize if you think about it right? And
Right.
I always thought that conversation was interesting.
Mhm.
And this kind of makes the conversation a bit more on the art side. Like if you have something that's painting for you
Mhm.
and you're just kind of entering in the data, does that is that kind of a cheat or you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's almost like the age old debate of like, if you use a projector, are you cheating by
Right.
tracing and all that kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even then you're still using your own arms to like, this would be even remove like the idea that you, like if someone's using a projector,
Mm-hmm.
this is almost like you're not even having your hand touch the thing. You're
Right.
really just kind of getting the design or making the design and then on a computer or whatever, and then slapping it this machine on because you could easily just put this on a canvas. It looks like and make paintings.
I would think so.
Without
Yeah.
your hand and then market it like a loser. Like like I don't even touch the book.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to make my artist touch less of the painting because it means I'm deep or something. I don't know.
Right, exactly.
It means my ego's not even there.
Right. Yeah. Myself, I'm not even I'm just the vessel for these machines.
I have such a little ego.
Yeah.
I'm so cool like that. But it's interesting. It would be cool to see what people do with it.
Yeah.
I remember a while back there was something kind of like that, but it was spray paint. It had like spray paint, and it was like this was like a long time ago. I don't even know how it would look it up, but it was like this spray paint. I don't know if it was drones or a fucking thing, like a thing with like, but I remember it would like spray the walls.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
And I always thought that was kind of interesting. I always thought like, if graffiti people get their hands on this, it would be interesting to see, like, especially if it was a drone.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, let me go paint the top of that building real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. How is that not like become a thing just because the technology isn't there yet?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone out there trying to master that. And when they do, they will become huge.
Yeah. They'll also be shit on by a lot of graffiti purists as well.
Yeah.
That's what happens in that.
That doesn't matter because, so does Banksy, but he's still making that money.
Right.
He's probably like, I give zero shits. I'm rich. So, yeah. Someone trying to find a quick way to become a famous rich artist, figure out a spray paint drone shit, and then use a second drone to film it, and then market the shit out of it, and then put yourself in one of those auctions, and
shred your
happily ever after.
How'd you? Yeah. What would be the equivalent of that? Like you demolish the building after.
After someone purchases it.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck? I wasn't even buying your work. I was literally just buying that building.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
That reminded me of something that Heppo sent me
Shout
probably
out to Heppos.
a week ago about this documentary called Pixo. Have you?
So don't think I've seen it.
It's about like this these graffiti artists in Brazil.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if you consider them artists. They just look like they just go into places and vandalize the shit out of it.
So I know those Brazil guys, they don't even consider themselves graffiti guys. I think at least a lot of them. I saw that. I think he might have sent it to me too.
Okay.
I know the documentary you're talking about. I haven't seen the documentary, but I know like a lot of those guys, they call it something else. They don't call it graffiti. I forget what it's called. But it's more of like it's like this weird thing that a lot of the people from Brazil in that kind of culture do, and it's almost like who can go higher, who can go bigger, and they have these funky letters that they all kind of have. It's like a Brazilian style.
Yeah.
And it's much more like anarchist based than I mean, a lot of graffiti is anarchist based too, but they're kind of Brazil. I know a lot of it has to do with the fact that Brazil has like these huge gaps in wealth,
Right.
and it's almost like hilarious how depressing it is. Like when you see like just like a clear line where like the slums of where the poorest of the poor live. Then on like have you seen those pictures in Brazil?
I'm sure I have, but the thing that always in real life that I'm always reminded of is like if you've ever gone from through the border, what's the town? Like I forget exactly. I think it is Nogales. I think there's like an Arizona version and a Mexico version, but as soon as you cross that border line, you know you are in Mexico. Like there'll be like, like a Dairy Queen or something like right next to like the border, and then you walk in, it is like everything is completely different.
I can't find the picture. Yeah, but and I know a lot of those people. I don't know if it's. I'm always suspicious about intent when it comes to things like that. When they're like, I'm doing it to like raise awareness of like the class. I'm always a bit suspicious that it's kind of like you enjoy doing this and now you're justifying it by like saying like, you know, like, cause we're trying to like
Right.
raise awareness. I'm always like, it?
Yeah.
Like how much of this is about you?
I think it's a huge part about them. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the enjoyment that you get from doing this thing.
Yeah. It's more like you're almost like venting your frustrations.
Right.
It seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, however justified they are, it's still like you're not being completely honest when you say it's like, oh, it's all about activism. I don't
sure.
think, yeah.
I can't find the picture, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. What'd you think about it?
Well, I haven't watched that documentary, but looking at the little trailer that I saw, it was like they kind of stormed into this museum and just like tagged the shit out of everything on it. It's just like,
yeah,
if it were my work, I wouldn't be happy about it.
For sure.
So
I wasn't happy seeing that in general. It was like, that's fucked up.
Right.
And I remember one of the guys saying like, this is the truest art. And you're like, okay, that's how you feel. Fine. The fuck does that have to do with you like going over to this random person's show and being like, so fuck your work? Like,
right.
How does that justify, oh, this is the purest work? Okay. Well, you don't need to like fuck up someone else's work just to that doesn't prove that your work is the purest.
Exactly.
If anything, it just proves that you're not willing to put in work to like prove it.
Right.
You're just looking to get the quickest version of attention that you can.
Yeah.
And that being just trying to steal attention from someone else's hard work. I don't know. That shit's annoying as fuck to me.
Yeah, it seemed like they're probably super young, not really thought about it too hard.
I mean, you'd be surprised. Some of those guys aren't that young. But they're crazy. They do a lot of like climbing skyscraper shit. Those Brazilians, there are some wild boys over there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
With that shit. But yeah, I don't know. I never... The whole like deface artwork in the graffiti world always to me has never been a cool thing. So, you know, it is what it is. People have their opinions. I've gotten into arguments with friends about this shit where they think it's cool. And I'm like, I don't think it's cool at all. I just think you're trying to like fuck up someone's shit just to like, for like, it's like a weird culture thing in there, in graffiti culture. Like, go over the mural, it'll run longer because they won't paint over it. And it's like, okay, so you're just being a shitty person. Like, the reason for fucking up someone's mural isn't. And then sometimes you get like, oh, these are corporate murals. And you're like, who cares? The artist got paid. Like, let him make that money. But, you know, it's whatever.
So their main justification for it is so that their work can, or their their graffiti can stay up longer. That's
one of the reasons. Another, I got into an argument with a buddy where he said like, these are corporate murals, like they blah blah blah, so it's okay to go over them. I'm like, that doesn't justify it. Like. So there was an artist that made the mural and he got paid. Does that mean it's corporate? Like, how are you defining this idea that that's a corporate mural? Because some corporation paid someone to do a mural. So now the artist is an asshole because he's trying to make money to like live off of things he's passionate about. Like,
yeah, I know.
And that justifies you going over it. I don't know. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's like you want these. There's these conversations now where people are getting mad at corporations for doing things like like there was a big thing with the gay pride parade, you know, where like all these corporations supported gay pride, and they were like, fuck these corporations, they're just doing it for the money. It's like, well, do you want them to do the opposite? Like, what would you want? Like, if they're not pro gay marriage, you're mad at them. But if they support it, you're mad at them. So what you don't want them to do anything, because is inaction, you know, like that's another thing. You go like, that's another thing they say. Oh, if you're not with us, you're against us. If no inaction or inaction is still inaction. Right. You know, all these, and it's like, how do you win with these things? Like you're just trying to be angry at something for no reason. And well,
also I think what happens when you talk about that is everybody kind of, I noticed this happens with pretty much any argument where people like to lump in like the groups of people who, like, it could be, they could all not be the same people saying that having that opinion. Like there could be people who are in that same group that are happy with corporations being more pro LGBT, and then people, I guess, who kind of get lumped in the group that are making that noise about, well, this is just corporate, I guess, you know, washing of the meat. So,
I mean, there is definitely some of that. I get that, but I don't know. It's like, I get it. I get that it's kind of like, oh, you guys are trying to cash out on this whole, like, everyone, you know, support, like, the LGBT community. And it's like, so there is like this huge, you see a huge product wave of like people just slapping rainbows on shit. And you're like, maybe chill on that, man. Maybe we don't need all that. Just to like prove that you're supportive. I get that. I get like the frustration with it. I just think there's bigger fish to fry than like someone trying to be supportive of, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's complicated. At the same time, if someone's just putting a rainbow on shit, but not really like giving back to that community, I suppose that's shit. I don't know. But the point I was trying to make was when corporations support artists, you're like, that's a corporate mural. It's like, well, don't you want them to support artists? You know what I mean? Like, isn't that a good thing if they're supporting artists rather than painting the wall gray? I don't know how you, like, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a bad thing to me, man. And if it's not them, then who else are you going to go to? The government? Like, it seems like you're not that into this person you're talking about. Probably not that into the government either. No, not at all. Out of curiosity, is this that Antifa friend? Something like that. Yeah, I get into spirited debates with them. I mean, it's good though. I think it's good to just have conversations with people that are, you know, have extreme beliefs. That you can kind of, at least for me, it helps me. Even if I can't convince them otherwise, at least it kind of allows me to figure out how they worked this way. You know.
Totally.
To get to this like belief that they have. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for me, that's the more fascinating angle to take rather than argue with people about that kind of shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. What is that? Where do we start with this thing?
With the scribbit.
Oh yeah. I don't know how the fuck we got to where we were at, but you know, that's kind of what we do.
Exactly.
You just got hit with a classic waiting to try tangent.
That is correct. We're just gonna go through all the waiting. What other waiting to dry things do we have to do?
Well, there's nobody to critique. We haven't done this one yet, but anticipation.
That was your waiting to dry fart joke of the week.
Oh, okay. So that's a goal to aim for.
Yeah. We also have exclusives and premieres.
All right. Well, we'll figure those things out. You said you had something you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. It was just a topic that I've kind of been floating around in my head for a while. Let me see how I worded it exactly. Oh yeah. Do you think that, like, how much of an ego do you think you need to be like a successful artist?
That is a good question.
Because I feel like it's something that people avoid, I guess, having, like, it seems like it's such a taboo sort of thing, like with most artist circles, to be like, to be looked at as arrogant or anything of any sort. But there's probably a certain amount of drive that comes with having some bit of an ego. And it's like, well, what's the line between having that drive and, I guess, like what makes people even say like, oh, he's just got a big ego or whatever, in their pursuit of success as an artist?
I don't know. Do you think ego is the same thing as like believing in yourself?
Maybe. That's why it's such a hard thing to really figure out for me. Right. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they talk about their art, or at least like the pursuit of art, it's a lot of people who I guess try to disavow having an ego when they're trying to think of like keeping their art pure and, you know, I'm just doing this for my own self-expression or whatever.
Right.
But it seems like in order to want to be successful in a way, you kind of have to have this belief that what you are doing matters to the world in some way.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, this is a tough question to answer because I can't. I mean, I know that an ego. I mean, for the most part, I think most artists have egos. At least, and it does seem that the artists, if I can think of that I know that are on the more successful end, for the most part, have very like evident egos. Not like they're not assholes though.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm trying to keep it from being like just about like the negative side of having you. I'm trying to think of like, well, what's the positive parts of it?
That's why I was like, is being confident in your skills and believing that your work is good. Is that ego or is that something else? That's the tricky part. Cause like, I don't know. To me, it seems like they're two different things. Like this belief that your work is good doesn't necessarily mean that you have an ego, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It's like, does self-confidence translate to ego? I guess it's like eye of the beholder, maybe, in that way.
How would you like kind of define, or what characteristics would you say are like kind of show an ego?
Egotistical. Let me see. I guess starting off with the negatives, you could be, I don't know, just kind of always trying to tear down other people, which I think that's definitely a negative part of having ego and doesn't serve you. Right. So
is it, I'm thinking right now, do you think ego is like when it's not deserving? Do you know what I mean? Like, for some reason, I'm trying to think of how I would define ego. And it seems like if someone thinks they're like deserving of things and think they're good and like that they're good. And it's almost like if you see a person that's not good at art and they think that they are, it's like this weird, like, oh, they have an ego. But if they are super good, I'm almost like, I mean, I guess I would consider that an ego too. Like,
right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of if I have somebody in mind that
Kanye.
Well, yeah, I guess Kanye to a degree. It's like, nobody would say he doesn't have an ego.
Right.
So, but like how much of that, having that attitude that he does, how much of that served him to get to the point that he's at, and how much do you take away, or if you were able to like shave off that part of his personality, how much do you end up shaving off before he's not the person he is anymore? Or like,
I think Kanye's ego is pretty much the main driver for his success.
yeah.
I mean, I think it allows him this like I think he's a very good music maker.
Mhm.
I don't think he is at the level of music making that he is at the level of fame or in success. Like I think he's not that good. But I think his ego and ability to market are his two best tools in his toolbox to achieve success.
So then does the marketing part of it become what you need to be the success? And then I guess how much of an ego do you need to like market yourself well? Does that become the question?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think marketing is a big part of success. I think Kanye is really good at marketing his ego. But like, for instance, like Emilio, we've had him on. He is like, to me, he seems like the sweetest person.
Yeah.
Like the smallest ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like literally, he's super successful. I don't think I don't think an ego would help him at all in his career.
Right.
So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to. I think it helps people sometimes, and I think it hurts people sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessary for success, but for some people, I think it helps them. I think that might be an issue, is that some people you see that succeed, that have these big egos, and it helps them succeed. I think it might be easy to kind of see that and think that you might need that to succeed.
That makes sense.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just throwing fucking darts in there now.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you'd have to ask somebody like a Emilio type of person, or you can just get Emilio on and ask him again.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to ask him, like, if he feels like he has any sort of ego, like what would be his honest answer to that? If he feels like,
I would be very surprised. I mean, I don't know what his answer would be.
Yeah.
But like the amount I've interacted with him, I don't see any. I even saw I remember we had a show at Modern Eden.
Yeah.
And Ian posted a picture of him wiping the floor because someone poured alcohol on the floor. And he wiped it up. I was like, at his fucking show.
Yeah. I think I was there. Yeah.
It's like this weird, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, he just seems like the most humble person.
Oh, he is. Absolutely.
The most just kind human being. He just seems hardworking, and he is good at marketing. I think he is a talent with a paintbrush, and he's extremely hardworking. And I think for him, those things allow him to be the successful artist he is today, which is great. And his ability to just reinvent his work and explore avenues, and I mean, he's just a great artist. But
right.
I don't think, even if he said he had an ego, I wouldn't necessarily point it out. You know what I mean? Like I would never say like, that guy's got a fucking ego.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But there are artists where they have an ego, and you can meet them and instantly kind of be like, relax, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And I don't know if that helps them, hurts them. But I think when people are successful and they have egos, it's sometimes easy to go like, oh, well, that's why they're successful. How helpful would that be if I had an ego that big or something? Like
Right. Yeah.
that?
Yeah. It probably just wouldn't work for a lot of people to be that way.
And I don't even know if you can like fake an ego either, or like just have, like I need to have an ego. Like I think
Right.
you just kind of have the one you have.
Right.
It's just a character trait.
Yeah.
God, my tongue is not working that great today.
But on the flip side, you can fake humility though. So I wonder if that faking humility is a symptom of having a big ego in a way.
But that sounds like a psychopath more than anything. Like, you think a lot of people are faking humility?
In the arts, I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Maybe we got a bunch of psychopaths on this bitch.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised, actually. But yeah, I don't know if that's. I don't even think it's necessarily needs to be looked at as a positive or negative trait. It's more just for me thinking about what you need to, I guess, drive yourself to be successful, and just kind of wondering if having somewhat of an ego is a part of that, and whether or not it's something where people will go, oh, he's got a big ego, or it's just something like personally for yourself, you can kind of just have this little nugget of your personality that you don't necessarily have to show anybody, but it just kind of drives you in some sort of way.
Yeah, maybe. I
don't know either.
I don't even
think out loud.
I mean, that's one of our like random negative feedbacks is that we have big egos, or like
right,
or whatever the fuck, and it's like, do I have no fucking clue. Like, I'm not trying.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that maybe it's just because we're outspoken with our opinions about things, and I don't know, some people just don't like that.
Isn't it the pot calling kettle black when you do that? When you're outraged and giving your opinion about someone being outraged and giving his opinion?
Well, yeah, that's why I don't normally do that sort of thing. So,
right. Yeah. But that's just because you're faking the humility, bro.
That's true. I humble brag on the regular.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like what's it called? Will Smith's son.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about him yesterday, and someone's like, oh, he does good things. I'm like, yeah, he also lets you know he does good things a lot. Yeah. They're like, oh, he does. I'm like, yeah, I know he does that. You know he does that. I don't go out of my way to find out what Will Smith's son's name? Jaden.
Yeah.
Fucking Jaden Smith. I'm like, I don't go out of my way to find out what Jaden Smith is doing. But you know who's putting a shitload of effort and money into letting me know what he's doing? Jaden Smith.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And he's like, Then they were like, he does? He gets a food truck and he feeds,
that's right. Yeah,
he feeds the homeless for free, vegan food. And I'm like, that is the most fucking ego-driven fuckface.
Exactly, yeah.
So not only is he promoting the fact that he's feeding homeless people, then he's also like, I'm also feeding them what I want them to eat.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't give a fuck if they want to eat it. I don't give a fuck if they need protein. They eat this kale salad all fucking day.
Right.
God damn. But, one of those fake humblers. Humility yours or whatever.
Right.
But I don't know where I was going with that. It just popped in my head to talk shit about Jaden Smith. But I mean, at the same time, he's doing good, even if it's for his own selfish reasons.
Right.
I mean, there's someone benefiting from it, which is nice. So at the same time, it's like I can't fucking hate on it too hard.
Right.
There's people doing bad shit for bad shit reasons.
Right.
So yeah. Sorry, Jaden. Please forgive me. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, the ego is an interesting thing. in when you're creating in general. I mean, it's weird because art is a selfish thing for the most part. But that's one of those things too, where it's like, it's not necessarily a negative thing in that. Like, I don't consider it negative, even though selfish is.
Oh,
usually,
being selfish, you mean?
Yeah. Like the pursuit of doing art for the most part is a selfish thing.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it for ourselves. But at the same time, I think it's also like good for our mental health as artists, you know, rather than if you have like a shit job that you have to go to every day. It's much like pursuing this passion, even though it's selfish. I think it isn't at the same time. It's a weird thing. And relying, I think a lot of times artists have to rely on the people around them because modern day artists, for the most part, have a hard time supporting themselves financially. So that's in a way another selfish thing. But you know, I don't know. All these random art traits that are complicated but interesting to talk about. Like the ego being a negative and a positive in weird ways. But, you know, we're all just one conscious mind, bro. Just trying to live in this universe.
Right.
Just stay woke, bros.
That's right.
I don't know. Also, a quick side note, shout out to Carla and Mark. Congrats on your wedding.
Oh, yeah. Congrats.
Yeah, Carla
for a while.
is a awesome artist friend, and Mark is a awesome art supporter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I went to their wedding. It was beautiful.
Was it in San Francisco?
Yeah. Yeah. It was at the old mission church. I think it was like an actual mission.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was, I think it's the oldest church in San Francisco. It was super awesome. It was almost gothic-y, how like creepy it was.
Oh, yeah.
Which is cool, and kind of fits those two's like style.
For sure. Yeah.
It was my first ever wedding I went to that was Catholic.
Oh.
I've never been to a Catholic wedding, but I've been to a Methodist wedding, and Methodist and Catholic are like right next to each other. And
are they? I don't know anything about Methodists. So.
Yeah, they do a lot of the same shit. They do a lot of the stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, kind of shit. So sometimes kneel, all those things. Yeah.
Right.
So it was very similar. But church weddings aren't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
This one was actually pretty nice because there wasn't a section of it where the like Catholics call them, they don't call them pastors or
no, they're just priests.
Priest. Yeah. Where the priest sometimes will go off on like a random, let me preach the word real quick to kind of convert a couple of you randoms in here.
Oh, okay. Are you talking about like the homily where they kind of freestyle for a bit?
I don't know the names of it. Catholics have their own,
right?
Their own like structured,
right? Yeah,
it's
very structured. Yeah.
And so, but I think usually because I think MJ or Sandrine told me that this is like a pretty short ceremony for a wedding. Was on the shorter side, but the guy didn't like go off and try to like. Because I've been to a bunch of other church ceremonies, and the pastor always seems to like, or priest or whatever, seems to go off on this like, now let me teach you about Jesus real quick.
Right.
So I can see if I can get a couple of you guys to like start rolling through the doors every once in a while. But this guy didn't do that, which was nice. I mean, he was like talking about like, you know, things in the Bible, but it was all like wedding related and love related. So it wasn't like, let me teach you about my buddy Jesus, which I appreciate because I don't know, when it's a wedding, I'm like, we're not here to kind of go to like Sunday school. Like this is for these two people. Like you can work in your stuff, but maybe not go off on like a whole thing, buddy.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it was nice. It was awesome. Got pretty drunk.
How long were you out there?
We spent the night in the city.
Oh, okay.
We got a hotel room. Me and MJ
That's cool.
Lindo.
Shout out.
Shout out. Yeah, we got a hotel so we could. And the wedding was on a Thursday, so then we had Friday off,
Okay, cool.
which was nice. We
Yeah,
had brunch with them
gotta be
the
good.
day after.
Nice.
Good times with the Mark and the Carla. But yeah. I don't know. I just figured I'd bring it up since it was, since it's art friends.
Right,
They got married.
I'm sure some of our listeners know who they are.
For sure.
Our San Francisco friends.
Yeah. Good times.
Did you see anybody else there?
Irene, and Houston.
All right.
And Hellas was there.
Oh, is she?
And I don't know if you know Damien. He's like an art collector.
I know the name. I'm sure if I saw him, I'd know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is he tall guy, kind of bald? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Damien's awesome.
Yeah.
I figured out there was like a moment where they were doing the speeches, and Damien, he's like one of those like very intellectual people, you know, like
is he?
super smart, a bit like, I don't know if this mean like a little on the spectrum, I would say, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. But one of the cool things is that he's also like a super intense person.
Okay.
And so they were giving the speeches, and you can see that like he would like turn to his date, and like you could see he was like slightly emotional about the speeches. And it was interesting to me because I don't know. But so I turned to Sandrine, a friend of ours, and I was like, look at Damien. And I was like, he's like an emotional robot. And she was like, that's exactly what Damien is.
Emotional robot. I like that.
So I think I cracked that cookie because he's such a tough person to crack. Because he's just so like, he's a character. Like he's hard to read sometimes, and he's all over the place, and then he's like super hyper focused on certain details, and
Okay.
I don't know how to explain him. Also just a huge supporter of artwork though. I think, I don't want to talk about his business. I don't want to put him out there, but yeah, super cool guy. And yeah, he I don't know. He wasn't drinking. I drink enough for all of us.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Sorry, did I just send us into a dead end?
What else you got for us?
But yeah. What do we got else to talk about? What do you got going on? What did you do this week? Did you do anything fun?
Let's see. This week.
This is summertime. Don't you plein air it nonstop?
I really should be more, but no, I really haven't been.
Like today's overcast. Do you like that? Do you like nice? I get to like, or do you want it to be a nice sunny day?
For the most part, I like it to be a nice sunny day.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, when it comes to plein air, I'd rather play around with the colors in the color contrast that you get more with like a bright day. And it depends. It really depends on the day itself being like, if it's in the evening, a overcast day just becomes like a darker overcast day. It doesn't, nothing changes. Whereas like a nice bright day, you get like the colors of the evening.
Right. The golden browns.
Yeah. All the purples and all that in the shadows. And so if I'm out painting, that's in the summer, that's the time that I would be out there on those days. But Sonoma County, for the most part, has like this marine layer that kind of mutes a lot of the colors anyway. So most of the time, if I want to be out painting plein air, it has to be, I guess I've just gotten more and more picky these days about what I want to paint.
A real plein air snob, huh?
Yeah, I really haven't.
So
But
now when you play the can you plein air, you're like, I could, but not.
yeah, exactly. Oh, that's always been my thing.
Yeah.
But let's see, what have I been doing this week? I've been working on a little bit more on that new series that I talked about before about the laundromat thing.
Oh,
yeah, I've been putting together all the reference, and now I'm about to start doing little gouache studies to see if the colors work out how I want them to.
Nice.
So that should be fun.
Are you pretty excited about those references?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, that's kind of been like, I guess, not a sidetrack really, but more like because I was so into doing like the Fetish of Form series, and then all of a sudden I'm just doing exactly.
AKA.
Yeah, AKA. And then I just do this all the time where I'll just switch to like something different.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time I start doing something else, that last concept or series I'm working on slowly starts to fade away from my, I guess, excitement about it.
Well, that's good though, because I feel like you were doing like the painted roses for so long,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That now it seems like if you're kind of bouncing around ideas, I feel like that's a good habit in general of like, oh, this looks like something I want to run down. Like I want to like chase this down and see where it leads. And then, oh, this also seems interesting. I feel like that's kind of a good thing in general. And maybe you might find something that really connects and you might chase that down for a while. But
Right. Yeah.
but like, I think pigeonholing yourself as an artist is one of the worst things you can do in general.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like, this seems cool. Oh, it is cool. I think I'm going to do it for a long time or whatever. I think that's, I don't know.
Yeah. Really, the only advantage of doing that is just makes it way easier to market yourself. And so that's the trade-off, really.
Right.
So, yeah, I've always, it was actually more of an anomaly for me to stick with one series for as long as I did, because I've always been more of a person that just jumps around from different things, and I'd say starting in 2010 is when I decided to try and work more in series. And yeah, just that one. Even the Painted Roses ones, I took a break from in the middle of it, and then I don't know, maybe around 2013 or 14, just all of a sudden it became a lot more in demand. So I just followed that for, I don't know, like 5 years or so.
Right.
With just other things in between. And actually, that's something I've been working on the side as well. I've been trying to like kind of break down my own process of how I develop concepts, like from the idea stage to the finish. So it's been an interesting exercise just to like, the ultimate goal of doing that is to have something that I can maybe teach to other artists. And so I've been putting together this almost like flow chart looking thing. It's been interesting to like break down my own process in that way, in a way that I can visually represent it.
Oh, that's interesting. Are you also like taking kind of like the amount of time each one takes?
No, I'm just like using just little like visual representations of everything. I haven't really like gotten into like each detail, like it's not really like a list that I go down. It's more just like almost like, you know, those like bubbles. I forget what they're called, but like they're like bubbles that have lines coming out of them. I forget what they're called, like spider graphs or something like that.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So I just laid it out like that.
So what are kind of this like some of the like sections of your process?
Okay, so like for example, like the idea phase, I broke down like everything, like outer stimuli, inner stimuli. So like outer stimuli being, you know, everything, any sort of like media that comes to me visually, and then like inner stimuli can be like dreams or you know, just deep thought or meditation or just like stuff like that. Just wherever inspiration comes from and where it comes from and how I like put it all together into a thing. And then from there, it kind of like, how do I actually process all that? Well, like take my sketchbook and or like write stuff out and stuff like that. And then from there, once I have like the concept, then actually gathering reference, and then that becomes its own little phase, and then just so on and so forth from there until I end up with the finished painting.
For sure.
So
when you're like, when you have an idea, right? Well, like, so say you get some idea pops in your head based off of whatever outside or inside inspiration or how I remember
stimuli.
Stimuli. There you go. And then like for me, I'll write that down, right? And then I'll kind of think about it. Sometimes I'll do a couple like thumbnails in a sketchbook to kind of see roughly how I would want that to play out. And then, you know, hiring the model and photographing. In that stage there, how much of the idea is open for it to adapt based off of, because I find for myself that when I'm in that stage, a lot of times an idea will fail like hard, or like
when you're trying to actually visually represent it with like
a human being, and going like, this is the idea, do it, and then either it just doesn't work for whatever reason, or you realize that there was a flaw in the idea.
Yeah, that for me is definitely where things can change the most for me as well. So because I'll sketch something out and then actually getting like whatever props or things that I need.
Right.
Once you actually put together, it actually takes a lot of effort to get like the actual real life thing to look even somewhat like what you had envisioned, even if you sketch it out and everything. Right. So, for sure. I've definitely ad-libbed a bunch in the reference stage, like shooting a model and all that.
Yeah, that's what I found. And it's kind of, I don't know, like for me, it's not, like I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy how much I might have to sacrifice from the original.
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep trying to figure out how to plan for that better. I'm like, maybe I should like do mock-up shoots with MJ or something. Pre-model, just to one of the biggest things I've realized is scale. Is like I have all these like props and things, and then sometimes I put them in there and I'm like, oh, that's not like my drawing. That thing was huge, and it like made more of an emphasis on what I wanted. And then sometimes it's the opposite. It's like, oh, you know, like this thing I wanted to be smaller, and it's just like I made like a frame of a house. I think you've seen it. And I've painted one painting, but I'm revisiting that idea. And one of the ideas for it was claustrophobic. And I wanted the person to be inside the house, but kind of the house almost be too small for the person.
Okay.
But when I built it, I was like, I just need to make sure they can fit in it. So I built it a certain height. And then I tried to shoot that image. And I was like, oh, wait, that's way too fucking big. And I think the issue is like a lot of times these models are tiny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm a big guy, so I'm like, I don't know, could they fit in that? I think I should make it a little bigger. And then I make it, and I'm like, god damn it. They sit in it. I'm like, you are nothing in that thing. So yeah, I don't know. That was just something. Since we like stumbled onto this topic, I just thought I'm just, you know, me and my ego, I'm just trying to bring up shit I'm dealing with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that definitely happens for me a lot. Because when I was doing more outdoor shoots, a lot of times it's dependent on what I can get away with and like what the actual scene ends up being. Right. And there's a lot of stuff that anytime I try to really invent much outside of like combining invented materials with actual photos, it's so hard to do it.
Right.
It's probably a lot of why I ended up doing like a lot of different like graphical elements in the paintings that I've been doing, I guess, in the past few years,
Right.
to kind of work my way around it. Like, for example, like what I'm messing around with the, what do you call it? The laundromat shoot. Cause I'm combining, these pictures I took at the Monterey Aquarium. So like erasing and, like carving out a part of the aquarium scene that's coming into and out of the laundromat scene. There are a lot of things that I ended up making just like interesting shapes out of necessity, because I'm like, oh, I want to cover this thing, but I don't necessarily want to like invent a laundromat or like invent like a washing machine or something like to put on top of it. So instead I'll try and come up with some interesting shape or color that will go there instead. So just those little limitations make you kind of think a little bit more creatively in that way. At least for me.
Yeah. I mean, I do enjoy that part, but that's like the painting part. I think another issue with like that specific part of the creative process of photographing the model based off of an idea is like the technical abilities I have in photographing someone.
Sure.
Like I feel like I know an okay amount about photographing someone, but I always think MJ, like if we talk about how to take a picture, and me and MJ are talking about it, like it'll sound like I know way more about how to take a picture than her, because on the technical end of it,
sure,
I know way more about it because I've just taken the time to learn these things. But if you look at our pictures, I always think MJ's pictures are just way better than mine.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. I mean, technically I set up the camera for both of us.
Yeah.
So that ends up canceling out all my knowledge. That gives me the advantage over her.
Yeah.
And then she just has a better eye for it on a camera than I do. So I always find that interesting. It's like a weird thing where I'm like, God, my pictures suck, and I want to steal all of MJ's pictures.
That's not very egotistical of you.
Yeah, it's just I deserve it. But
do you use the reference that she takes?
Sometimes we'll do a trade. Sometimes she'll like something, and I'm like, well, we could trade, or vice versa.
Right. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome to have that.
Yeah, it's mostly for like stuff, because we'll take a lot of shots of like shoulder up stuff just to be like, all right, I paint like a detailed portrait of you or something, or somewhere in that kind of realm, and we're like, oh, I like that one, and she'll like another one. So it's nothing like there's never really a concept to the things we trade. Like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, like I have these paintings I want to paint. I usually shoot for those paintings, and then I go like, all right, or usually before I shoot for those paintings, I'm like, all right, well, I'm trying to make sure all the colors right. Let me take a couple like pictures of you shoulder up or hip up or whatever.
Yeah.
Just to kind of have in case I want to like paint for.
Right.
And they come in handy sometimes for shows when they're like, oh, we're doing a portrait show, or oh, we're doing this. I'm like, oh, I can just kind of like build a narrative around this image.
Yeah, exactly.
That fits what you're trying to do for this theme show or whatever.
Do you ever just feel like you want to get better at photography?
Oh yeah. I want to get better at a bunch, like graphic design, like learning Illustrator 100%.
Oh.
Like I want to learn that so bad. Photography. It's like, I wish I could just pause my life right now and then somehow take like a 5-month course on photography, take a 5-month course on Illustrator and all these other like little avenues. Like I want to learn how to weld,
right?
Like all these random things, but not actually take my time to, like, not take my actual time out to do it. I just want to be able to pause and learn it all, or Matrix back of the head thing. It'd be nice if they figured that out and I could just use it.
And learn kung fu. Why
Get
not?
on that shit, scientists. I thought you guys were cool.
Stop wasting time with your little scribbits and all that.
Yeah, and your global warming. Get on the Matrix thing. Yeah, it would be interesting if if that was a real thing, how many people would download like the ability to paint?
Yeah.
And how would that play out? Are they good artists? It would be interesting to hear the discussions if that was a possibility. If like you can,
like if, for example, if everybody somehow just woke up being able to paint photorealistically.
Yeah, just being a really good painter. How would you define good art then?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Good thing we don't have that, because all my life I spent working on this skill. Like, well, I guess I wasted my time. I could have just waited like the rest of these people.
You'll just have to get better at your dots.
Yeah, the dots. Good art. What makes it dots? Obviously.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. We could mentally go down that rabbit hole, but it seems like a lot of work. You know what I mean?
Right. End up exactly where we started.
Yeah. Which would be, who cares? But
it's like that review said, not a finished thought ever.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was writing a book here.
Right, exactly. So I'm saying, these fucking people.
What do you mean by these people, Sergio? But what were we talking about before I randomly brought up the Matrix?
Oh,
shit?
my little flow chart thing that I'm trying to develop into something.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
yeah, it's been helping me just figure out for myself, like, if I end up trying to create a formula like this for myself and I put it to my own test, does it work out? And if it does, can I teach it to other people? Just end up being something that makes me stand out as far as that realm goes. So
yeah, you got to stand out above the crowd, even if you got to shout out loud. Tonight is the only place you'll.
I know those are song lyrics. Should I know the song?
I don't know. Are you a Goofy movie fan, Sergio?
No,
or
I
are
guess
you
not.
a Nazi? There's only two people in the world: Goofy movie fans and Nazis.
I was hanging out with somebody, was she 9 years younger than me?
Oh.
So Shrek, the topic of Shrek came up. And she's like, how do you not like Shrek? Or, I don't know, I was 18 when it came out.
Yeah, how do you not like Shrek?
Well, I like the first few movies well enough.
Nazi. That's how.
But yeah, Goofy movie was one of those movies that passed me by too.
Well, you weren't that old when Goofy movie came out.
When did it come out? What?
I don't know. I was in elementary school, I want to say, so you can never
Was it?
know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say 94.
95? Okay.
Boom, I was almost there. 95.
So I would have been, what, 6th grade? Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
fits in my time. So
And my older brothers were the ones that put me on game. So you were not too old for Goofy movie, Sergio. You only got one excuse.
my older brothers.
No, Nazi. So yeah, I don't know. So when did you join?
You know how we were talking about the time machine thing a couple
Yeah.
I just took a total left turn there.
Yeah. Is that when I came to That was when I was like the creator of a time machine is racist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I still stand by that. The more I think about it, the more I think it's that there's no way if a time machine was ever invented that the guy that invented it isn't racist.
Because racism still exists.
Yeah.
Should have
Because
taken care
all
of
the
it.
people trying to stop racism were murdered, and all the people that were for it thrived. The proof is in the pudding. Time pudding, that is.
We're dealing with your lack of action person, time traveler person.
Yeah, you've been caught. If I'm dead in a week, you'll all know it's a time traveler fuck. In a weird way, is it weird that I'm like, it would be hilarious if I died this week just because of that joke?
It's like, what's that? I think it's a Louis C.K. joke where he talks about a friend of his said he was going on a flight and he wished that if the plane goes down, the friend goes, like, why would you wish that on me? And he's like, well, first of all, if that happens, I would just be amazed at myself having the ability to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And he would also get the bit out of it.
Exactly.
What else we got to talk about?
We got any more?
Get any more?
We're both looking at our phone for topics.
One of the things I've been thinking about doing, but I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it, but I was thinking about doing like a FAQ for us so that people can finally stop asking me what pencil I use.
Okay.
Did you see that though on the comments on my? Oh, I think you did because you liked it. Where someone's like, "What pencil are you using?"
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, "You could literally read it." Like, what do you mean? How did you watch this video and ask that question?
Right. Exactly. What part of the video were you looking at?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I need to know what the pencil is using. And it's like, you can read.
Yeah, I think I wrote that I could literally see you rubbing your temples as you write this comment.
Gosh.
But yeah, so what type of pencils do you use?
I use a shitload of different pencils. Is the worst one because I use a bunch of different ones. I use like a Draftmatic. I use, the ones that click back into themselves. I always forget what they're called. Something 1000 or something like that.
Oh, yeah, they're like, are they Staedtler? Like the blue,
yeah, that's the one.
blue shaft. Yeah, I forget what those are called too. But they come with like really thick lead, right?
You can get them in all different sizes.
Oh, okay. They come with like different colored lead as well.
So I use that one.
Oh, is that a Pentel graph gear?
It looks like it. This one here.
Yeah, I use
Yeah.
that. I use that motherfucker too.
That's one of my favorites. Draftmatic is one of my favorites.
Mhm.
I think I use this one as well. I have no like preference for I mean, obviously I do because I'm like, these are my favorites. But I think I use this one, this one, and I use this one. So I don't know what all those are, but
There's a Staedtler.
a Draftmatic. I forget what that one is.
What's the most expensive pencil you use?
Probably this one. I think those are pretty expensive.
Oh, the Pentel graph gear?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like $10 or something, right?
Yeah, 10 or 12.
Mm.
I think they're all about that price or
Yeah.
a little bit lower sometimes. I
I
can't
just-
remember what the Draftmatics are, like $7 or some shit like that.
I was just curious if you have like some like crazy Japanese $35 one or something like that.
Fuck that. The issue with pencils is like I use 0.03 sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and the little metal like thing nib or whatever you call it that the lead comes out of.
Mm-hmm.
On some they like slightly bend, and on a 0.3 you're pretty much fucked.
Oh.
That pencil's garbage after that. You can try to align them,
Uh-huh.
but it's so fucking tough. On
Yeah.
a 0.3, you're like, you move it like a little bit, and you're like, I think, and you have to like do it, and I don't know. So that I use the Draftmatic for the 0.3 because it seems to be like the one that holds up the best. I also use the Staedtler. What are they called? This one.
That one is a Pentel graph gear.
Pentel graph gear because that one it like retracts back into itself.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're storing it, you don't have the chance of the like little metal rod bending while it's in your bag or something.
Okay. The actual metal rod retracts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I don't think I've ever even utilized that.
If you click this part,
Uh-huh.
it like shoots back inside.
The little like
The little pocket.
the pocket holder
thingy.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't read the instructions.
Oh, damn it, Sergio.
Well,
These
hey,
look
I'm learning
nice. Look
things
at
too.
that thing looks legit as shit. What is that? That's probably one of those $30 ones you were talking about.
Possibly.
I like how it looks. It looks. Oh god damn! It's a YouTube video.
Two Toe 3 by artist Leonardo. Is that what it is?
Let's look it up. Look it up.
Go Google that shit.
That says $100 for that one.
Oh shit! Wow.
What the fuck you buying a $100 pencil for?
Oh, is it an Indiegogo thing? Is that what it was? Brassing sketching pencil. Shit.
$100 for a pencil. $179 for a pencil.
Is that just because it's a copper, solid tellurium copper?
That doesn't matter. Copper is not that much money.
I know. That's not like what type of shenanigans are in these.
It's probably one of those things where someone that's like, it's just like, that's not an artist pencil. It looks like a Bic, doesn't this one? That's like, looks like
It does. It has those like little
like the shitty eraser.
Yeah.
in the,
the shitty eraser that looks like a Lego head.
yeah. It's someone with too much money. It's like
Right. It's like someone you get that gift for somebody.
I should just remember the name of this pencil, and anytime anyone asks,
Yeah.
like I use a solid tellurium copper mechanical pencil by Modern Fuel. It's my shit. And they look it up, they're like, "What the? No wonder he's so good."
What version of it do you use? It doesn't look anything like the one you're using.
Yeah, mine's limited. It's but just
I got
buy.
sponsored by them, and they made my limited edition version.
Nice. So, what kind of mechanical lead do you use, Sergio? Everyone uses, but you use like standard pencils though too, huh?
For the most part,
Yeah.
yeah. When I'm using mechanical pencil, I have I think Pentel graph gear and probably some other like no-namer thing. I probably have like some shitty Bic too.
Do you have a preference pencil brand?
Damn, I'm blanking out on the name.
Maybe I should have told you this. I didn't even know we were going to. It just has been an idea in my head for a while.
Right. A lot of different types of pencils I use. For sketching, I really like Prismacolor Verithins. Like for
Are
like
they
life drawing.
Verithin?
They're very thin.
Are they very thin?
Verithin. I also like for graphite, I like Palomino Blackwings. They're kind of expensive for.
Are they
for
the ones
pencil.
with the rectangle eraser?
Yeah.
I've never used them, but people seem to love them.
Yeah, they're not like that big of a improvement, but I know a lot of people swear by them.
Right. Yeah.
I got a shitload of pencils. I just kind of rotate through a lot. I've tried all the different types of color pencils, and I still go back to Prismacolor probably the most because that's basically what I learned to draw with.
Yeah. I got no preference as far as like a pencil set or at least I haven't like locked in on one that really seems to like be my cup of tea. I know like the really cheap ones, like art sets, I just don't fuck with because they're the worst.
Yeah.
But pretty much anything like probably middle range, I'm fine with. I got no preference.
Oh, I remember now. I got a set of Tombow, like all the different like lead hardnesses, and they're not too expensive. I think I got mine for like $14 or something for like 8 different pencils, 8 different leads. So that's one I would recommend for people to check out if they
Hell yeah.
want some good graphite.
You guys better be writing all these fucking notes down
Right, exactly.
so we never have to answer these questions again. And I'll just remember this episode and I'll go like, oh, go listen to our episode. Oh, you want to know a pencil? Go listen to our episode.
Buy those pencils and then write it
Do you have a preferred oil paint?
I like Rembrandt oil paints, even though I barely ever buy them because they're usually not on sale. But I like Sennelier. Gamblin I use a lot as well. I like Gamblin's. They have a pretty good like middle range of like soft or stiffer paint. So it's kind of right there in the middle. There's probably just like a few brands that I don't really care that much for, and they're usually just because they're like cheaply made.
You gonna talk that shit or what?
Georgian oil paint.
Oh, isn't that Walmart brand?
Probably.
Shots fired!
Fucked up. That's the everyday painter. That's the everyman's painter that uses that brand.
Right.
I mean, USA.
Bob Ross oil paint. I've never tried that, but
You dare.
so I will keep my mouth shut about it because I've never tried it. But I'm just saying,
Nice. I use Gamblin pretty much
exclusively. Yeah.
I use other ones that I've gotten like for free from like.
Have you ever fucked with like Old Holland or any like super expensive brand? I actually don't really like them that much. I think they're too stiff. Like there's a certain point where the pigment load is just too much and it's just hard to work with and it dries out super quick.
I've worked with paint like that before. And the thing with me is like I'm so used to gambling now that I like look at the colors. I'm like, all right, I know how much to slap of this and that of this and this. And when I get something where like it just seems like the pigment is so fucking dense, I put like a little bit in. I'm like mixing it with them. Like that's not the right color.
Yeah.
So I have to like figure it all out. So right now I'm just like everything I work with, I'm so comfortable with that adding in something else, I'm like, I don't want to do it because it just ends up being a big learning curve.
Right.
That's not even necessary, really.
Yeah. And Gamblin is a really solid brand anyway. They have a really good range of pigment. So
for sure. Shout out to Gamblin.
Yep. Hit us up.
Who else? Or what else?
Do you like Winsor Newton or anything like that?
I have a couple Winsor Newton that I use. I got them for free from a buddy who racked them when he was like, he did graffiti. He was like, I want to learn how to paint. He racked them. He was like, I don't want to I don't like fucking with oil paint here. I was like, all right, thanks.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of tubes of that for a good amount of time. And I use them every once in a while. I don't, like, they're not that great, but they're not that shit, in my opinion. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, they're middle of the road as well. I think they're probably a little bit overrated just because they've been around for so long. They're kind of like, they just thought of like the classical oil paint.
Corporate on your new brand. Corporate. Yeah. We've talked about brush. You're a big Treacle guy, right?
Treacle and Treacle. Like what Method Man? Treacle.
Yeah.
And that and Rosemary and Co. are my two main ones, but definitely more. I've been using a lot more Treacles over the past few years.
Yeah. And and
it's not just because they've been on our podcast.
Yeah. I don't actually use Treacle, even though they've been on our podcast.
Yeah.
I use Isabi, and I use that Da Vinci brand. It's like a cheaper brand. I don't mind those at all.
They're okay.
I use them for like my fine brushes because they're cheap, but they're all right. So then
because they have a student, or I guess like hobbyist brand of theirs. Is that the ones you're talking about? They have like a tan. Yeah, I know exactly which ones you're.
And so I can buy a bunch of, because then like when you have like a 01 brush or whatever, it's like this thing isn't gonna last no matter what fucking brand it is. Yeah. So it's like, cool, I'll just buy these. They work perfectly fine, and then I'll just toss them and not feel like I lost a ton of money using them.
Yeah, that's what they recommended that we did in art school. So there's another thing for you.
Oh,
to,
yeah, see?
yeah,
Didn't need art school for that.
exactly. I gave you that one.
But
But yeah, brushes. Yeah, and then I use a bunch of other just tools like palette knives and these. Lately, I've used those Princeton Catalyst wedges, those silicone wedges.
yeah,
Those are super fun.
those a lot.
Yeah, those are super fun to play around with.
I've had one of those for so long and never used it.
Yeah.
Never once. But yeah, I think we had this conversation before, and you were the same way because you just started using it, right? Like
Probably like in the past year. Yeah.
yeah. But before that, I think you said you've also had one for a while and just never touched it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they look cool when you're in the art store. You're like, oh, this looks fun. I could use that for something.
Yeah.
And then for me, I'm like, all right, throw it in the thingy somewhere. I don't even know where mine is.
Oh, really?
Probably mellow it or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I use palette knives only for mixing. Every
okay.
once in a while I'll apply some paint.
Oh, really?
I need some like rough kind of like big swatch of color or like of paint somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, they're perfect for that.
But very rarely.
Just getting a lot of paint from your palette onto the canvas.
Right, that too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. What other fucking FAQ questions? Yeah, I'm just thinking
What
material
surface?
Yeah, wood panel.
Yeah, wood panel, clear gesso.
Clear gesso.
Any preference of
I use
brand?
reference.
What? Oh,
use
you
reference.
really use
I don't know. I'm just thinking like, oh yeah, they say what kind of wood? Birch, quarter inch. Clear gesso. Clear gesso.
Liquitex or
I use
Golden or-
Liquitex probably more, but Winsor Newton has a really good one
Oh, it does?
where
Okay.
it's like it's more fine.
Oh, good. That's the thing I never really liked about clear gesso.
Yeah, so it's not so like lumpity lump.
Mhm. Yeah, like even if you try to sand it, then it just gets cloudy, which defeats the purpose of it. So
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's good that they have a more fine grit one.
Yeah.
I'd probably be up for trying that one.
Try it out. It's just more expensive.
Mm.
You know, I mean, Liquitex obviously is
Mm.
not going to be a high-end brand.
Mhm.
No diss to Liquitex, but just is what it is. Everyone's got their little notch in the market.
Right.
It's probably a more lucrative, like, route to go anyways. Like Liquitex's route rather than like
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
super high-end. They're probably making very little money off of their
Yeah.
higher-end stuff.
Yeah, I went to what do you call it? Up in Willits, this company called Natural Pigments. They make everything in house, and it's all like it's such a niche market, like who they're trying to appeal to that
Right.
they're probably not going to expand that much more than the little warehouse in Willits. So,
Right.
I mean, they're great for the people who are into that, or
Right.
care that much about
Super
the
nerd
material.
out about that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, they'll never be like competing with Liquitex or any of the other brands.
Right. Golden.
Yeah.
Although Golden's acrylic, but
Right.
you know, but those brands in that
Mm-hmm.
that range.
Yeah. I don't even know if there's a thing like that exists for acrylic.
What?
Like a really like niche high-end brand like that.
I mean, how would it? It's all just plastic, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I guess like, I don't know, more pigment load into it is like the only difference, right?
I suppose. Just adding more plastic pigment into it. Yeah. I mean, Golden is probably the standard for acrylic paint, right?
Yeah, there was this brand. I don't even know if it's still around anymore, but it was called Lascaux, Lascaux. Does that sound familiar at all?
I don't know. I would have to see it. I'm so bad at like names, but if I see like the labeling, how do you spell it?
Lascaux, I think. Yeah, Lascaux. Oh well, that's the caves. Acrylic, Lascaux acrylic. Oh. Maybe it is still around.
Check it out. Oh yeah, I think I know this brand. Let me see.
Yeah, have you ever seen that in stores? It's supposed to be higher pigment load than.
Yeah, I think I used to have a couple of these guys. I don't remember where I got them from, but then I threw them out.
Huh.
I don't really. like having acrylic.
Right.
I
Yeah.
have a very small amount of acrylic.
I can't remember the last time I actually bought some tubes of acrylic.
Me neither.
I think it was probably like the cheap Walmart stuff that I used to paint my niece's room, like little like children's mural thing that I did for him. So that was, yeah.
And you could only you didn't want to go higher than Walmart, huh? Do you not
Only the best for my family.
Do you not love them? Oh yeah, you had a fucking family reunion last week.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The fuck? I said, what'd you do? And you said nothing.
That was still last week, so I didn't count it. That was fun. A lot of people from out of town came. Cousins that they live in Oregon now. They lived in Mexico for most of my life. So, I hadn't seen a few of them in like,
Nice.
I don't know, like almost 20 years. So that was cool to see.
Nice.
And
They got in, huh?
they got, yeah.
Nice try, Trump. Maybe better luck next time, loser.
Yeah. What wall are you going to try next?
Yeah.
That shit's so dumb.
So bad.
But yeah, it was awesome. Like everybody had a little sort of speech it was all impromptu.
Nice.
Everybody said their nice words. It was nice because like my family, they're not, I don't fall far from that tree when it comes to being very expressive. So,
I imagined that you got up to say a speech and everyone was like, shh, 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 he talks.
no, that's not that big of an exaggeration.
That's hilarious. The one speaks.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, shh, shh, shh. Let him get settled in.
So you did say a speech?
Yeah, just a few
Nice.
minutes. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I never do that in family things. I hate it.
It was very uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
fortunately, I guess for me at least, it wasn't. It made it a little easier that there were definitely other people who were uncomfortable, and there were some other people who'd been drinking enough,
Right.
so they were happy with speaking plenty for the rest of us.
Nice.
So-
Did you open up by saying like, "Hey guys, you might know me from my popular podcast, Waiting to Dry."
So I was like, 5-star review over here.
Yeah. If you have time, maybe leave a review.
Leave a review. I'll have stickers for you.
That'd be hilarious. Nice. That's cool.
Spend the whole time just plugging my thing. I'm having a show.
If you're not following me on Instagram,
Yeah.
I have my Sergio Lopez page, Main Loop, and then I also have a landscape page and what's your sketching one called?
Oh, Sergio Lopez drawings.
It's like Sergio Lopez drawing. So follow all three.
Yeah.
Remember to like and leave a comment.
You're right. Turn on your notifications. It actually is. A lot of people actually did bring up like my Instagram because they all like follow me secretively. I guess they can't because there's a lot of nudes in my main account, so that they don't like. I guess they have to do it secretively for some reason.
Right.
I don't know.
They don't want to let anyone know that they like it.
Right.
Nice.
But they're like, oh yeah, I heard you're having a show, like such and such. I'm like, oh, I guess people are paying attention, for better or worse.
Yeah, I feel like family, they're always like I know my family's out there following me. I just you forget on the Instagrams.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's more of like a marketing based social media than like a what Facebook used to be.
Right.
Where it's more just like friends talking to each other.
Yeah. Exactly.
Times have changed. I was thinking about this the other day about how, like Facebook's like this hotbed for discussion now.
Yeah.
Like in a terrible way.
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion that the fault of that lies on parents. and aunties and uncles because it was a beautiful place till they joined that shit.
Oh my God. I think you've nailed it.
I know. Well, I nailed it because my mom was like messaging me about some nonsense shit that she saw on Facebook. I was like, God damn it. I was like, my mom doesn't know how to like figure, like she doesn't understand what's real and not real on
Right,
Facebook.
right. Yeah.
And she's over here like, I saw it on Facebook. Is this? I'm like, parents ruined it.
Right.
Parents ruined Facebook and caused this whole like shift in what it became.
It's so true. Yeah. Yeah. Because once older people got on it, they're like, oh, more disposable income. So let's cater to them. So,
yeah. And they're like politics and
yeah.
whatever.
I just realized that most of the people that I've like hit the mute button on Facebook are people like 50 and over.
Yeah. It's so bad. But yeah, I mean, even people that are younger, I think like just the environment changed.
Yeah. Oh,
based off of that, based off of aunts and uncles joining. And now it's just no turning back. Not everyone's
right.
Instead of posting pictures of you getting drunk at a party, now everyone's trying to be, political or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
It used to be beautiful. It used to just be drunk post.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If it's not, your uncle posting something, it's like your cousin arguing with your uncle about something on there. So
I know. I remember, in my graffiti days, one of those oh, this happened 7 years ago. And it was just a post where I just rambled all the shit I did that day. I was 4 a.m. and I was like, I did this. And then I did some graffiti and then I hopped in a whatever and we found this random party and we partied there. And then we went to Safeway, stole some sandwiches and we painted in the skate park at 1 a.m. while we ate these sandwiches and all these things or whatever. And then I had a shitload of likes and a bunch of random comments.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I remember when that's what Facebook was like. You would just say stuff and then people would actually talk to you.
Right.
And then it was and that was it.
Yeah.
Now I don't like anything. Nothing gets likes anymore.
Yeah.
No one talks at all. It's just emojis. The happy face emojis.
Right.
The ones you get instead of a thumbs up. It's
right.
you either get a thumbs up, a sad face, an angry face.
Right.
All right. I guess this is how we communicate now.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know where we're going with this.
Well, we're at 2 hours anyway, so.
Damn, we did it. Piece of cake.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. You got anything coming up this week?
Let's see. This week, I will be delivering some pet portraits that I finished recently. So
Nice.
So there's that. And then, the week after that, I will be in Oregon doing some plein air events. So I'll be out there. So
Catch me outside. How about that?
How about that?
catch me outside painting.
Hell yeah.
And then you probably will have some podcasting without me to do.
Yeah. Yeah. We have an episode planned next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I don't know about the week following, but I know we have another one coming up after that. So maybe this will be the bi-weekly kickoff.
Right.
But
Let's
yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've been waiting on this mural to start for a bit. We were like, all right, it's going to start. And then I thought we were all good, but now a little bit of paperwork.
Oh, really?
So I think we should be able to start this week. We're supposed to start this month. It's already the fucking 20th. So, God, I hate that's the thing I hate the most about this mural shit. Good thing MJ's super good at that stuff. She kills it on that end.
Really? That's good.
Because I cannot do all the follow-up email. She CCs me on all of them. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? Just give us the go-ahead.
Oh, you just read the nonsense that is going through it? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were like, don't CC me because I'm not going to look at this anyway.
No, it's just a ton of back and forth. I don't know. It's, but yeah, all that stuff I'm not great at in general.
Mm-hmm.
At my work as well. They're like, did you see my email? I'm like, yeah, I did it. I'm like, could you email me back? I'm like, why? I did it. I did what you asked. Like, God, just look.
Yeah.
But that's my mindset.
Yeah.
That's my horrible. I know it's the wrong mindset. I know. I just, that's how I am. I've gotten better though. Now I just write, will do. That's what I do now. Will do.
Yeah.
Send. But yeah. So hopefully we start that mural this week. And
nice.
Other than that, we're starting the commission, that dream commission.
Nice.
I talked about a while ago. We're gonna start working on that this week. And I got to start making a shitload of panels next year. I am super busy
with the shows.
Yeah, big mistake-o.
That thing you didn't want to do.
Well, I didn't want to do this year, which I nailed.
Yeah, there you go.
But then at the same time, I'm like, I think it was a good thing, and then now we're like which like kind of let us do the mural thing a little bit harder. You know, and certain things like that. But now next year, I think we're gonna go hard with paintings. Which is a good thing. It'll be good for my social media too. People like, I get huge amount of followers when I start painting, which tells me I should probably paint more for that reason. But I don't listen to that bitch. I don't listen to social media. You can't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. But
you're not God or my father or my boss.
Shout out to that guy. Shout out to Bagel guy. Poor short man. Asshole. Actually, not poor him. He can,
I don't know if you people discovered his YouTube page.
Yeah.
And it's all problematic.
It's horrible. Yeah, he's just an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an ego. He should be an artist.
Right, exactly.
Go far.
See how, he'd be our test subject for this.
That is a weird, like that whole like Napoleon complex thing is such a weird thing when you see it. You're like, holy shit, man. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if it's just a natural like thing as a short person. You need to build these like aggressive defenses so you don't get picked on or something. But
I guess so.
But damn it. It's crazy sometimes.
But yeah, that's like, I don't know. It seems like his thing is a lifetime of rejection plus just being a Long Island shithead too.
Right. hey, the gabagoo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right. Are we good here?
Uh-huh.
This has been Waiting Dry. If you're still listening, please leave a positive review and rate, and we appreciate it.
And then fuck off kindly.
Yeah.